Hi, my name's Elliot. I took a gap year between high school and college, and in this clip, I'm just going to summarize what I did. So thanks for letting me share my experience. I started with a benefit trek to Mount Everest Base Camp with an organization called Global Volunteer Network. So we had to raise $2,000 for children's homes that they were working with that we got to visit for 5 or 6 days after the trek. And we did a 16-day trek in the Himalayas to base camp. Unbelievable experience that I could go on for a long time about. After that, I spent a week exploring the city of Calcutta in India. I was staying with a family that we knew. It was a friend of my family's. I then taught English for a month in Cambodia at 2 different schools in Siem Reap, which is a somewhat well-known town as it's located right next to the famous Angkor Wat temple complex. I also spent about a week in the capital, Phnom Penh, and learning a lot about Cambodian history and culture. I went from Cambodia to New Zealand, where I did a native wildlife and ecological conservation program, again with Global Volunteer Network. And we were based in Wellington, which is the capital. It's on the North Island, and we spent 2 weeks in a giant nature reserve called the Coromandel, which is on the north tip of the North Island. And we were monitoring mostly the effects that introduced species had on the native bird populations. The birds are sort of the pride of New Zealand, and as well as the effects on the ecological systems. After that, it was about Christmas time. I got to go home to the States for a few weeks, and then I flew out again to France. I spent a month living on a farm, sort of in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of France, with a host family. I was attempting to learn French from scratch. I then went from there to the city of Bordeaux and spent 5 months living there, mostly with a host family and going to an international school for the French language. And had an amazing time, and I fell in love with France and have been going back really ever since. And thanks for listening to my story, and I highly suggest a gap year.